Hello and welcome, and thanks for joining us for our Access RDB Roadmap webinar. I can see that we have in excess of 200 of you attending today, so let's get started. Also, if you have any questions regarding this presentation, then please take a note of the email address on the final slide. So, as the slide says, I'm Andrew Forster, Divisional Director for Recruitment here at the Access Group. I'll be taking you through a few slides initially that positions us within the recruitment sector and gives a little bit of information on the Access Group itself. This will be followed by a more detailed presentation by our Product Director, Chris Hill, who will set out our plans for the coming year. And then last but certainly not least, Louis Urbinowski, our Senior Consultant, will give you a first preview of the new browser interface that will be available to you very shortly. So let's start with the Access vision. The Access Group, we have over 14,000 customers across all sectors, with the recruitment division being a significant part of the total group, contributing circa 23% of total turnover. That is, recruitment is absolutely key to the success of the Access Group and will therefore attract the necessary resources and investment in order for us to develop and provide the tools for you and your business to succeed. This is supported by the key figure on the slide for reinvestment. Access reinvests 16% of turnover back into research and development of its products, which is certainly at the top end of the scale within the software sector, and demonstrates our commitment to providing market-leading products and world-class service levels. In terms of the group structure, recruitment, as you can see, sits as one of 6 key verticals, the others being as diverse as not-for-profit to the hospitality industry, but all based on solid technology and great people. These verticals are serviced not only by the more traditional solutions such as HR and finance, but are underpinned by our very own hosting business. We have 7 data centers strategically located around the world, including 2 in the UK. We offer in excess of 99% uptime for applications, and as you would expect these days, all are ISO 27001 accredited. So you are safe in the knowledge that your information and data is secure, backed up, and covered by our disaster recovery protocols. Some of the big names that you will recognize include Countrywide, Jaguar, and more recently Spotify, the music streaming business. Some of you will also be aware that we recently acquired the market-leading pay and bill software provider, Safe Computing. This brings Safe Tempest, Safe Screening, and Safe Financials into the Access recruitment family. Safe boasts a who's who of clients in their portfolio, including 75% of the top 20 firms in the UK. Moving forwards, it gives us the opportunity to offer a truly integrated end-to-end solution, something that is unique in the recruitment market. Bringing this all together, our end-to-end offering looks a little like this. Front, middle, and back office functions integrated for a streamlined operation with the benefit of speed and accuracy. All your data stored and managed by us in the cloud and underpinned by our new Access RDB Analytics module, bringing together all these aspects in a unified report and/or dashboard functionality. So if you're currently reviewing any aspect of your workflow, or you're simply interested in finding out more, please send us a note via the email address at the end of this presentation. Okay, enough from me. I would now like to hand over to our Product Director, Chris Hill, who will outline the product roadmaps. Chris.
Thank you, Andrew. I'm here today to talk about the 4 pillars that shape the future of the recruitment roadmap. When we think about those pillars, they impact everything that we do and the things that we plan in the roadmap and when we want to implement them. The first pillar is to create the best Access RDB experience ever. To do that, we think about, again, 4 things. Firstly, using the best technology to offer the greatest platform for RDB. The second is power. We want to make sure that we retain all the power and functionality of RDB, but we serve it through a variety of channels to give the best flexibility to our users. Third is support. We need to continue to support our existing user base, but also make sure that we support new users in the system, both how to use the system, how to get the best from the system, and how to bring new features to them that they want. And the fourth is value. How do we increase the value for our users every single day and build on that ROI that they're used to? The second pillar is to align with the overall Access product strategy. So Access's product strategy is to build best-in-class, modular, integrated SaaS solution for every industry we operate in. As Andrew mentioned earlier, we're divided into sectors and sided divisions, and that means that we can specialize in recruitment for building the products that you need. Another part of the Access strategy is to keep investing in the products that we sell to keep our customers happy. Third is that we should be building HTML5 tablet-compatible products which are accessible anywhere and anytime by our users. And the fourth, and most critical, is that they should be accessed via Access Workspace, secured via our identity, Access's single sign-on product. Third pillar is to build the complete offering or end-to-end solution that Andrew mentioned earlier. This is a slightly different graphic, but again, it shows that what we want to do is build a completely integrated suite of solutions for recruiters that encompasses front office, mid office, and back office, with information flowing freely between all of those solutions, underpinned by analytics, a hosting platform available on any device, and including supporting products like candidate screening and other parts of the Access suite. The fourth pillar is to integrate with the wider Access platform. As we can see, Access Workspace spans the rest of the Access products, and RDB is another one of those. Integration with the full range of Access products is coming in our roadmap soon. So let's think about how the roadmap is taking shape. Recent releases from RDB include identity integration with the RDB store, identity integration with the members area, a Pronet upgrade with identity is almost ready for release, and the Access RDB browser has identity built in from the start. We've released Access SMS in August this year. It's available to everybody and provides an Access alternative to the other third-party SMS providers that have been available on the store for some time. And we also released Access RDB Cloud. This lets us handle the complexities of hosting, backup, and optimizing your databases for you. After all, there's no one better to optimize RDB than Access. Now, I've mentioned Access Workspace a couple of times recently, and what that basically includes is this is an evidence of how Access teams in several locations are coming together on a unified roadmap. Workspace includes apps, notice boards, and various different tools that can help you use various Access products in a single workspace. Access RDB will be compatible with Workspace when it launches later on this summer. What else have RDB team been working on specifically? The GDPR changes to RDB Core and the Access Consent Portal. Some of those GDPR changes are live already with 6.5 and 6.6. 6.7 is coming for release soon, and I'll be talking about that in a moment. And the Access Consent Portal is now ready for customers to buy. Access RDB Hosted DB. This is a new deployment option to help recruiters get set for growth and remove IT and data costs from their systems. It basically, as I mentioned, enables us to optimize RDB for you and simplify your environment. The Access RDB browser, which we'll be demoing later, is a new and intuitive look and feel for RDB. It supports tablets, Macs, and PCs, and it enables us to provide a whole new way of using RDB, but retain the power and functionality that users love. We're also working very hard on the Tempest integration to build on the safe acquisition that Andrew mentioned earlier. Standardized Tempest integration for on-premise and outsourced pay and bill functions will enable us to work towards that end-to-end solution we mentioned earlier too. So now I'm going to give you a quick overview of how Access can help you and what we're working on in relation to GDPR and the things that Access can provide to help you with that. Firstly, let's talk about version 6.6. This version is live now and enables consent for GDPR to be built into RDB Core. We've built new tables to store consent. We enable recruitment consultants to store consent, track consent, and see consent. And it's all built into the RDB desktop and built into the browser by default. The next release, version 6.7, enables you to take action based on those consents. So process blockers will disable certain kind of features based on the consent or lack of it. It will also enable you to fulfill your data portability requirements by generating a CSV of data held against the applicant. It enables data deletion requirements to be fulfilled, and it enables you to build rules around the usage of the above to make sure that you can not delete records when you need to retain them for rules outside of GDPR. The final thing we can talk to you about is the Access Consent Portal. The Access Consent Portal is there to help your candidates provide consent to you. It launched in February. It's compatible with RDB via the use of a plugin and can be branded with the self-service tools available in the Consent Portal itself. And finally, I need to mention the browser version of RDB. The browser version of RDB is the latest version. It's quicker and easier to use than any other version of RDB, and it provides more functionality than any other recruitment system available today. This browser version has been underpinned by a few different key values. We wanted to make it cross-platform. We wanted to make it tablet-ready. We wanted to give it a clean and fresh UI. We needed to keep the text searching and searching abilities of RDB. We needed to build in new functionality around reporting, which was felt to be a weak area in RDB. We've added a new global search functionality. It's intuitive and easy to learn, and it has a separate mobile app. The final thing, picking up on that intuitive and easy to learn, is the built-in help and training. This new built-in help and training recognizes new users and helps them achieve basic competency very, very quickly, reducing your need to onboard new consultants. It enables you to provide instant in-app access to key guides for features and processes, so that your consultants are never too far away from a new feature and a refresher on how to use that feature. It enables us to highlight new features as we launch them. The browser version of RDB is a SaaS platform, will be updated regularly, and that without the need for a full implementation or a full upgrade process as you would expect with a desktop. You simply load your browser, it updates for you, and the new help will help you highlight the new features that we've added. There will also be a facility to build your own training program for your team with specific workflows. I'm going to hand over to my colleague Louis Urbanowski now, who will give you a demonstration.
Hi everyone, my name's Louis Urbanowski and I'm one of the senior consultants for Access RDB, and I want to take a few minutes to introduce you to the latest version of the platform and give you a quick glimpse into what we have planned. I guess to add some context, when I came on board to work with Access RDB a few years ago, one of my first tasks was to immerse myself in the platform and how our clients used it and what they thought about it. And it was interesting actually that amongst this research there were a couple of really strong themes. First of all, that RDB was extremely flexible and offered a lot of functionality out of the box for any type of recruitment agency. That it had a really scalable underlying technology that meant clients could use it from day one throughout the life of their business. And also that our training and onboarding had to be so detailed and comprehensive as to ensure that we gave that knowledge about how the solution worked to our clients. But I suppose times have changed and so has our market. It's no longer about just having the strongest or most functional platform. We all want a better user experience or UX in all walks of life, and the same is true within software. Combining this new desire without forgetting really what has made RDB a success for our clients is key to what we're doing with our latest version. As has been said, the mission statement is what would the market-leading CRM look like in a web browser? In other words, what is the best possible RDB experience?
So now I want to take you through a quick tour of the new version of Access RDB to really focus on some of the features that Chris Hill just talked about. So to do that, I'm going to sign in through our main web portal, and you'll notice that I'm using it in Google Chrome today. The new version of Access RDB will work with any browser, any device, across multiple tabs, but also what I want to focus on is some of those core fundamental user experience changes that we've just discussed. So before we do much of anything, I just want to draw attention to how the system looks and feels and talk a little bit about navigation. So if we focus on the top-hand side here, what we also have is a new search bar that not only brings some of the best bits from Access RDB in the desktop version, but also extends it out further as well. So for instance, if I want to look for any record in the system, I can happily find David Beckham, for example, as a contact. Or if I also want to look at functionality, then I can type any part of the system and it will take me to those screens built within the actual global search. Again, making navigation simpler in the new version. On top of that, because we're in a web browser environment, we also have the ability to go back and forward through items that we've previously visited within a session. And on top of that as well, we have the option of looking through a history of what I've done in each session. So if I just open that up quickly, You can see, for example, it starts to break it down by different records and also starts to give me a little bit more information. So, for example, if I now want to jump to Russ Abbott, then it will also show me his postcode and status within the system, all from the History tab. One of the new additions as well is that we introduced favourites into Access RDB, which again allows me to start tagging applicants, jobs, companies, reports, etc. for easy access from the main screen. I can break it down via most viewed, or also look at ones that I favorited for later. So again, a clear idea on the applicant and a hyperlink through to that record in the system. You also noticed, in terms of the left-hand side with the main navigation ribbon, that we've gone through a process of cleaning up the terminology and UI look and feel. So no longer do we see the word index, but actually a much more user-friendly user, people, companies, jobs, etc. One of the key things for us was making sure that the user experience tallied up with a new user jumping onto the system for the first time and being able to find their way around. That also lends itself nicely to the next part of what we're going to cover, which you'll see is the main dashboard screen here. So for us, whilst there was information displaying on startup within the older version of Access RDB, this then needed you to jump around into different screens. However, this is a central jumping off point that's customizable by each user and means that actually anything I see with a little arrow, so for instance here and here, means that I can click straight through to interrogate for more information. So for example, on my diary page, if I want to go and have a look at the item I've got in my general to-do, which is to record the webinar for today, a simple click allows me to jump straight through to it, see a nice big view of my calendar, and then also I might just go up to the back button up here just to say, actually, I'm now going to jump back to where I previously was. So again, navigation should be seamless and also work towards how the consultant wants to get through each task as opposed to one set way of working. One of the biggest changes we're most excited about in the new version of Access RDB is our walkthrough system. Now, traditionally, when delivering software as powerful as RDB, a classroom environment of training or 1 or 2 days at a time would be required. But for us, when it comes down to what is the best possible experience for Access RDB, that is again about a user jumping on for the first time and being able to navigate around the system. For instance, if I was a new user within the solution, I could go to the help file, click on Show Walkthroughs, and I would be delivered a list that could be customized per individual company. We can put those in there, or the systems admin can, and then instantly I can say, right, if I want to add an applicant, for example, it will take me through the staged view, highlight the areas of the screen, so I'll click People, through to Applicants, through to the New. Then I'll add the basic details. So for example, I'll start to add in Mr. Louis Urbanowski. I can then add sectors into the system, etc. and move on. So at that point, once I've added sectors, a communication, etc., it just starts to build the picture of what I have to do in the system so I can do it time and time again. Again, these can be customized per individual business or can come out of the box with a set list of walkthroughs. I might add extra information at that point, but once I'm happy, I'll hit save. That will finish the workflow, and at that point, I've gone through my first one. You'll also notice up here on the right-hand side, is the idea that actually I can start to share these out. So as a manager, if I need to update individuals on what they're doing, I can, or I can quickly hit I'm done, or jump to different YouTube links as well. To finish off our preview of Access RDB, I just want to focus on a couple of processes, and I'll start with an applicant record. As you can see, we're currently on Russ Abbott, and a couple of the things that we've changed with the new version is highlighting some key information along the top ribbon, which shows me almost the breadcrumb trail of I'm in an applicant record, it's Russ, here's his postcode, his status, and you'll also notice it says distance to active job. One of the new features we've added into Access RDB is the ability to set active jobs and active applicants, which means that we reflect now that a consultant's work style can always be intuitive to the point where actually I might be doing a 5-minute process here for a specific job, a 10-minute process over there to find a candidate, etc. And we can tag these active records, meaning that if I'm on Russ Abbott, I can instantly see that for job J185, which I could click through to see more information about, he's 9.19 kilometers away. And this information can be customized along the bottom string as well to add more context to what an individual user is doing. One of the other things that you'll notice in the latest version is, again, in terms of navigation, we want to make information easy to access, but also easy to see within one screen. We call these train tracks, but effectively on an applicant record, I can now break down the different applicant action stages, and these will customize based on what you set up as statuses in the system. And for instance, if I want to drill through to see CVs of Russ Abbott and where they've been sent in relation to spec sends or jobs as well, a simple click through allows me to see that, for instance, on the 26th of February, I sent his CV to Celine Dion at the Nokia Group. Finally then, Chris talked about the new access reporting inside this latest version. And what we want to do is give every user the ability to create reports on any of the data in the system. If you put it in, you should be able to get it out. I'll show you an example of one we've created and also give you a flavour on how we actually create them in the system as well. If you click into reports, you'll have all the reports that have been created, and I've got some demonstration examples today. And if I want to run a really simple CVs out by client that's been created, I hit the run button, and again, this will then display on the screen. What I like about this is not only is that information in a graphical format, but I can easily edit to get to underneath the underlying data. On top of that, if I go back a page, you'll also notice that this can be favorited, renamed, and shared as well. Also on top of that, if I drill into any area of the system, so for instance if I go into my applicant records, you'll also notice that the reporting function is available on every screen, meaning that actually if I want to start to build an ad hoc report based on applicant data, I simply click into report, and I'm then shown all of the fields that I can report on, group, summarize, etc., and also different types of charts that I'm able to create in terms of pie charts, bar charts, etc. These will also be exportable with the correct security permission. I hope you've enjoyed our preview of Access RDB. I'll now hand back over to Andrew, who will wrap up.
Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Chris, and thanks for all for attending. I trust that was an informative session. If you have any questions or queries, please email us at the address on screen, and please also watch our GDPR webinar. Thank you very much.